Excellent. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Evan Valle, and I apologize for not being able to be there in person, although we would love to actually be at your dealership, interacting with you, engaging with you. Based on the circumstances, we are doing this type of training virtually. And I hope that you get the same type of information from this as you would from us being there in person. It is an hour long, so I hope that you have some type of paper and pad. I hope you're in a comfortable seat, and I hope that you are open-minded right now because there's some great information that I definitely want to share with you about our brand. So jumping right into it, let's go ahead and start with the agenda. Why? Why does Mazda exist? What drives us, and why do we, Mazda, behave the way that we do? We'll talk a little bit about our history and heritage. Mazda has such a unique history that we are definitely proud of, a history that truly formed who we are. We'll move into the road to Mazda Premium, where we'll take a look at Mazda's progress as we elevate to Mazda Premium. We'll definitely define what Mazda Premium is. We'll move into our known buys. The known buys are what we want our customers to know our products by. We expect each and every person within the Mazda organization to know and share Mazda known buys with our customers, friends, family, anybody that you pretty much interact with. And then we'll round it all off with some brand value management, some BVM. We want to introduce you to brand value management. What does it mean? Why is it important? And so on. If at any time you have any questions, please feel free to just let me know. Go ahead and jump in, and we'll see if we can get you some more information. Now, let's start with the why. Why do we start with the why? Because it is the root of everything that we do. And I really want you to just take a moment as you sit back in your chair, or your couch, or wherever you're sitting enjoying this presentation. And I want you to think about the last time that you actually felt joy, right? What does that mean? I mean, what is the definition of joy? My story is I have a 1996 MX-5 Miata that I absolutely love, NA, the very first version. Just the other day, I took it out to PCH, which is Pacific Coast Highway for those not familiar with California. A long street, just basically runs on the side of the beach. Beautiful views, cliffs, you get everything on there. I drove down from Laguna Beach to Long Beach. If you want to find a map, you can see where that is. But the roads were completely empty. It was 6 a.m., so there wasn't, too much traffic out there. I lowered the top and just drove, feeling the cold beach wind blow through my hair and on my face. The rumble of the 1.8-liter engine, combined with my Jackson Racing headers and my Racing Beat exhaust, was music to my ears. In that moment, I was free and happy. No COVID virus, no 3-year-old grabbing at me for another snack, just me and the road. That was my joy. The reason we ask you to share your joy or think about your joy is because we want you to feel and connect with Hashiru Yorakobi, or the why behind Mazda. Now, we've previously loosely translated it as joy of driving, but we've expanded this in the past just to basically connect everything else. Driving is a part of our lives. It takes us to more than just point A and B. It's a destination, an adventure that connects us to life's experiences. It's not so important to remember the actual term Hashiru Yorakobi, but to understand the meaning. Our why, the reason we exist, is to bring joy, exhilaration, and well-being into the lives of all the people who interact with Mazda, whether they be our coworkers, customers, or anyone curious about who Mazda is. So how do we deliver Hashiru Yorakobi? Hashiru Yorakobi is the driving force behind Hiroshima's spirit. Now, this is further broken down into 3 core values: challenger spirit, perfection of skills, and strong bonds. Break these down. Challenger spirit is perseverance, grit, hard work. It means that we find a solution to problems that seem impossible, or the strength to pursue our own path and keep true to our values. Perfection of skills is just that. It's the drive to continually become better and the understanding that there is no such thing as perfect. It's a continual pursuit. Strong bonds. This is probably one of my favorite. Strong bonds is the value of relationships, right? Mazda's relationships with our customers, our dealer partners, organizational employees, our vendors, between you and me. Hiroshima Spirit was formed as a direct result of Mazda's unique history. You will see how these values are evident in our history and heritage section. We'll go through that in a few seconds here. Now we know the why, we know the how, but now we need to know the what and what we deliver. The what is the ultimate Mazda experience. It means delivering a uniquely Mazda experience that delivers Hashiro Yurikobi at all touch points. Mazda vehicles deliver Hashiro Yurikobi, joy, exhilaration, well-being in styling, driving dynamics, and quality, but cars are just part of the equation. The ultimate Mazda experience is more holistic by connecting it all together. The joy, the challenger spirit, our perfection of skills, and the strong bonds we create. It is our experience our customers receive when they interact with our dealership and the Mazda brand. It's a combination of the physical products we deliver and the human interactions. We want people to feel joy through the experiences we provide. But to fully understand the formation of Mazda's why, we need to take a look at our deep, rich history. Let's get into that. History and heritage. This is the journey into our history and heritage. Mazda was founded in Hiroshima, Japan, circled in red on the map. Located on the southern coast of Japan, surrounded by beautiful mountains, Hiroshima has long been a center of culture and business. The mountains provided abundant natural resources for manufacturing, and its access to the sea facilitated growth and commerce. One particularly abundant resource that played a pivotal role in Hiroshima's economic growth is iron sand, as iron is a base for 90% of metal alloys like steel. Unlike the traditional iron ore, or the rock that's mined out of the mountain, which is pretty scarce in Hiroshima, iron sand is harvested from the riverbanks and hillsides. Iron sand also posed unique challenges to refine and required a specialized technique called tatara. And this ancient technique enabled Hiroshima to transform iron sand into world-class quality steel, and it created Hiroshima's vibrant steel industry. What's amazing is that tatara is actually still being used today. As the steel industry grew, Hiroshima became a community of highly skilled craftsmen. Here's a picture of one of those highly skilled craftsmen right here. They were craftsmen in steel trades like swords, knives, and ornamental files, but in other crafts also, such as calligraphy brushes, pottery, woodwork, and more. Some cool pictures here of the steel actually being used. Hiroshima's steel industry and pool of highly skilled craftsmen made it a prime location for development of heavy industry like shipbuilding and, of course, what brings us here today. Cars! Well, trucksters, as this one is right here. Here's a picture of Jujiro Matsuda, who is our founder. After a successful career in manufacturing, Jujiro Matsuda, the son of a fisherman, decided to move back to his hometown of Hiroshima. Because of his business intelligence, Jujiro Matsuda was asked to assume management of Toyo Cork Kogyoko, a floundering cork company in 1920. Yep, we were a cork company. Kind of funny. Mazda actually celebrates our 100-year anniversary. We were founded in January of 1920. So happy 100 years to Mazda. Seeing that artificial cork demand was on the decline, Jujiro Matsuda leveraged his past manufacturing expertise to pivot the company into making machine tools. And you can understand the difficulty in actually making the tool, right? At approximately the same time, Jujiro identified an opportunity in a growing automotive industry. In 1931, Mazda debuted our first vehicle, a three-wheeled truck called the Mazda Go, which is pictured here, a beauty. These are the early examples of Mazda's challenger spirit. Mazda would continue to refine the manufacturing process and introduce other variants. But it all changed fairly quickly. On the morning of Jujiro Matsuda's 70th birthday, August 6, 1945, At 8:45 a.m., the first atomic bomb detonated over Hiroshima. For Mazda, we talk about this moment not to assign any blame or to review the why and how, but instead to understand the challenges faced and how Mazda chose to move forward. This moment is also important because it cemented Mazda's Hiroshima spirit of challenger spirit, perfection of skills, and strong bonds. When the bomb went off, Hiroshima instantly lost 20% of its residents. By then, by the end of the year, Hiroshima's population fell, I believe, to almost 60%. Some passed away from their injuries, and others just simply left the city. 70% of the buildings were destroyed, and the infrastructure sustained major damage. Miraculously, Jujiro Matsuda left the city early in the morning, and most of the Mazda's facilities survived. When Jujiro Matsuda arrived back at Hiroshima, he saw the devastation and committed to play a key role in building Hiroshima back up. Mazda lent out part of their office to local government to coordinate the recovery process. Mazda also opened parts of the factories to house the ones who lost their homes. Mazda's hospitals took care of the injured and the sick. Impressively, Mazda was able to restart the Mazda Go in 4 months. Imagine the challenges, the workers, the supply chain, power, etc., that it took to get that production going again. And the Mazda Go's were then used to carry raw materials during the rebuilding of Hiroshima. In fact, they were instrumental in helping the rebuilding. They were reliable, and their small size made it great for navigating around. I don't know if anybody has actually seen these or have had the luxury of traveling to Japan, but they're actually really cool. They're really fun. They're really agile, and they're still used today. That's a big part of this. However, what is more amazing is why Jujiro Matsuda worked tirelessly to restart production so quickly. He wanted Mazda to bring hope to the city of Hiroshima. Again, I've actually had the luxury of visiting this location known as the Peace Dome, one of the very few buildings that survived the blast. In Japan today, it's a symbol of peace and Hiroshima's resilience, perseverance, and grit. The Hiroshima spirit is deeply rooted in the people as well. In fact, post-recovery, Jujiro focused on enriching people's lives through manufacturing. Jujiro noticed that passenger vehicles were expensive and only owned by a few people, so he sought to make it affordable to the masses. To achieve this, he pushed Mazda to innovate manufacturing, powertrain design, material science, all to create our first passenger vehicle. You want to see it? There she is, a true beauty. Look at the size of it. And I like to reference the top right photo just to give you a reference of the actual size. Yes, this is a 4-passenger vehicle, 16 horsepower, 0 to 60. Not possible because the top speed of 52 miles per hour. However, you did get 75 miles per gallon. Pretty amazing, right? In 1960, Mazda introduced our very first passenger vehicle, the R360, and it was designed to basically make cars affordable, bringing new hope, adventure, and well-being to the people. This vehicle was really ahead of its time. I mean, some of the innovations in manufacturing capabilities were something that was unseen and unheard of at that time. And in fact, they were able to create a product that was fun, lightweight, fuel efficient, and affordable. The R360 grew to 65% market share of the lightweight car segment. So a vehicle that truly gave us a strong start. And around the same time, Japan started consolidating Japanese auto manufacturers to capture the economy of scale for manufacturing and R&D in an effort to be more competitive in the overall global market. To remain independent, though, Mazda needed to find a technology advantage. A funny story is that when the government was looking to consolidate all of these brands, they actually wanted to pair Mazda with Toyota, but we wanted to remain a unique in our own brand. Bring it full circle to where we are today. As a lot of you know, we've actually engaged with a relationship with Toyota that is definitely going to be beneficial to both sides. So kind of a funny story in that. Just continuing with this product, in 1961, Mazda went all in on the rotary. If you don't know, the rotary engine was actually developed by a German engineer named Felix Wankel. He was assigned to developing this huge technology for NSU, who later became Audi. And they actually own the rights and licensed the rotary for development to pretty much all manufacturers at the time. Some of the manufacturers that we were competing against were Alpha, American Motors Corporation, AMC, Ford, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, Nissan, Porsche, Rolls-Royce, Suzuki, and Toyota. However, none of the manufacturers were able to overcome the engineering challenges and successfully make the rotary engine a viable power plant for automobiles. However, again, being fully committed, in 1963, Mazda assembled a team of 47 Ronin engineers, Ronin meaning leaderless samurai. These engineers were all equals. They committed to the single purpose of bringing rotary to mass production. They ate, drank, slept, and bled rotary for 4 years. In 1967, Mazda successfully became the first and only manufacturer to mass produce the rotary engine. The rotary debuted in the 1967 Cosmos Sport, which I will show you here. Built from 1967 to 1972, I truly believe that the Cosmo was ahead of its time. Talking about craftsmanship, this vehicle was originally built by hand at the pace of 1 car per day. Pretty incredible. Though Mazda was able to successfully mass produce the rotary engine, Mazda still needed to prove this brand new technology to the world. So how do we do it? We enter it into an endurance race. Not just any endurance race, though. Mazda decided to prove the rotary in the hardest and longest endurance race at that time. Only a year after introduction of the brand new car and powertrain technology, Mazda entered 2 Cosmos into the 1968 Marathon de la Rue, a grueling 84-hour race on the unforgiving Nürburgring, where 50% of the entrants don't even finish. 80 hours into the race, one of the Cosmos crashed out. A hole drilled for an instrument weakened the rear axle, causing it to fail. However, the rotary engine ran strong. The other Cosmo would continue to place 4th, a near podium finish for a technology that had never even been tested before. It was a resounding success. Mazda was able to demonstrate our amazing engineering prowess to the world by proving the rotary's performance and durability. Mazda's unique rotary engine set us apart from the crowd and allowed us to get a foothold in the North American market. That same year, we started operations in Canada. In 1970, we hopped the border and opened our first US dealership in Seattle, Washington, University Mazda, which is still there today. In 1968, the Marathon de la Rue was also the start of Mazda's love affair with racing. Mazda would continue to race rotary-powered cars around the world, and we won many races. One of the most significant wins of our history is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I know a lot of you are familiar with this car here. In 1991, Mazda won the 24 Hours of Le Mans with the 787B, pictured here. This one was significant because a little car company from humble Hiroshima, Japan, became the first Japanese auto manufacturer to win this race. Mazda actually held the title as the only Japanese manufacturer to win for 27 years. And Toyota, I believe, just recently in the last 5 years ended up winning. So they became the second. But a wonderful, wonderful accolade. Mazda is also the only manufacturer to win without a traditional piston engine. In fact, after we won, they changed the rules and banned it so that Mazda cannot race the rotary engine at the 24-hour Le Mans again. Though this achievement is impressive, what matters more is how the race embodies Mazda's values of challenger spirit and perfectionist skills. Mazda first entered this race in 1973 and lost. In fact, it took 18 years of losing, improving, and returning, 18 years of perseverance and grit before we actually won. Now, through the years of racing, Mazda developed a unique driving dynamic that exists in all of our cars today. We call this Jimba Itai. And I think that when we talk about Jimba Itai, the most evident example of this is through our MX-5 Miata. First introduced in 1989, the MX-5 Miata single-handedly revived the roadster category and became the best-selling roadster of all time. Over 1 million units have been sold around the world. Imagine 1 million units. The MX-5 driving dynamics, reliability, and affordability also made Mazda the most raced brand. On any given weekend, there are more Mazdas on the racetrack than any other manufacturer combined, around 55%, in fact. Mazda continues to maintain strong bonds with the motorsports community, and is a pillar in developing amateur racers into professionals. If you're interested in racing, you can actually research our Mazda programs that we have that start all the way from karts and work your way up into one of these MX-5 Miata babies here. The Jimba Itai DNA in the MX-5 is found in every vehicle in Mazda's lineup. As you can see, this white one here in the bottom left picture is my actual vehicle that I referenced in the opening story. Her name is Edna, and I absolutely love her. But it's just not about driving dynamics. The MX-5 also represents Mazda's move towards premium. In 2016, the MX-5 won World Car and World Design of the Year, making Mazda the only manufacturer to take these two titles during the same year. The runner-ups were premium luxury brands like Jaguar, Land Rover, Mercedes, and Audi. Not a bad list to be on. Fun fact, the Mazda Japan headquarters, or MC as we call it, held an internal Mazda global competition for the design of the new Roadster. Our US R&D facility actually won the competition, and Japan still holds smaller competitions with our global R&D facilities to this day. So you can take pride in knowing that the design of the original NA Miata actually came from a US design studio. Kind of cool. Now we move into a little bit of Mazda Premium. I wanted to start with a quick video that kind of lays the foundation for us. I hope that gave you some chills, because every time that I see it, it gives me chills. And think about that last line. We designed to a feeling. So now let's talk about the road to Mazda Premium. The first step that we took was introducing Skyactiv in the 2012 Mazda 3. Y'all familiar with Skyactiv? What is Skyactiv? Many people think it's just a name for a new technology, but Skyactiv is not just a technology, it's a philosophy. Back in 2006, our engineers were challenged with creating a new platform that our future vehicles would use that truly delivered Hashirui Yurikobi. Our engineers designed to a feeling: direct, responsive, intuitive, precise, not actual specifications like horsepower, cargo room, or MPG. They were also told to start from a blank sheet of paper and that the sky is the limit, hence Skyactiv. So instead of the typical incremental improvements, Mazda engineers started from the ideal state and backcasted to create a car that checks all of the boxes. In fact, we'll talk about what backcasting means a little later. The result is a suite of innovative technologies that are designed from the very beginning to work in harmony to deliver a fun-to-drive experience that is also fuel efficient and environmentally friendly. As proof, of our Skyactiv approach, 5 of the last 6 years, Mazda was ranked the most fuel-efficient brand without a single electric or hybrid in our lineup. Think about that. The improvement in our cars is not just happening under the hood. Over the last 6 years, since 2013, Mazda has made significant changes to the interior and exterior design as well. I'd like to show you some of those, some of the incredible evolution of our products in just a short period of time. So we'll start here with the exterior in our 5th generation. Back in 2012, 2013, around that time, Mazda vehicles were in what Mazda calls the 5th generation. Mazda fans bought Mazda for the great driving dynamic and good value, but most customers were actually price driven. The large amount of cars we sold was influenced by how much money we had on the hood of the car. Essentially, we were a commodity brand to most people. As we moved from 5th generation to 6th generation, we shifted from a price-driven purchase to a purchase made because the customer loved the driving experience, elevated craftsmanship, and mature styling. We maintained the engaging driving experience that Mazda is known for and took the same passion and attention to detail towards great driving dynamics and applied it to design and craftsmanship. For the exterior, we introduced Kodo, a mature design language that captures the soul of motion. This is the reason why Mazdas are one of the best looking cars on the road today, because of the use of light and shadow. Influenced by Japanese design philosophies, the interior is elegant and sophisticated, creating a sense of joy and well-being. We elevate the quality of materials and vastly reduce noise, vibration, and harshness, NVH. Most of our product lineup is currently 6th generation design. Now we are transitioning into 7th generation vehicles. Our first 7th generation vehicle is the 2019 Mazda 3, which a lot of you have already seen. I hope that a lot of you have actually had the opportunity to get behind the wheel of one of these, either the sedan or the hatchback, to truly experience how well they are connected. 7th generation vehicles are really designed to create a strong emotional connection with our customers. Customers buy because they are aligned with the brand values founded in the 7th generation. Beautiful car. But we've been looking mostly at the exteriors. So now I want to take a quick look at the interiors. Any of you remember this baby right here? The 5th generation product right here. Plasticky comes to mind. Very, very, not to say childlike, but the buttons are plastic and very easy to see and to use. A lot of silvers and grays used. A very simple design, not to take anything away from it. But as we move into 6th generation, you can see a little bit more of a refinement, right? A little bit more of a luxury approach with, the shiny gunmetal silver there, a little bit of a more functional layout. And then we move into the 7th generation here, where you can see, true premium. You can see how everything is completely aligned, the symmetry, the color use. Everything is easy to access. It's human centricity. Let me get back to the Mazda 3, the all-new Mazda 3. I mean, it really is truly in a class of its own. It looks and feels like no compact vehicle on the road today. The Mazda 3 sedan and hatchback both represent significant milestones for Mazda as they introduce the next generation of Mazda design and dynamics, signaling our breakthrough to premium. It's posed to lead Mazda into a new era of growth, attracting customers who are seeking a premium vehicle and a premium experience, but are willing to invest in both. The jump from 2018 Mazda 3 6th generation to the 2019 Mazda 3 7th generation is vast. That same jump will be present in the 7th generation Mazda 6, CX-5, and CX-9. Those are being worked on right now and bound to come out pretty soon. However, the 7th generation is just one step towards Mazda's premium. Our designers are already working on 8th generation, described in the chart here. This continuous jump in product and CX is required to achieve Mazda premium. We're able to achieve these amazing jumps in product because we start with the ideal state in mind and stay true to our known buys. And we talked about backcasting earlier in this presentation. Backcasting is essentially a wonderful planning tool where you start with your ideal state or what you ultimately want, the very, very best, and then you backcast or you work backwards, identifying some of the concerns, milestones, or roadblocks that are pretty much going to be stopping in your way or that are going to have to be overcome. From there, once you are able to identify these roadblocks, you can actually start to work on beating them or on achieving them or getting past them, right? Again, a lot of the time manufacturers use a very iterative approach where they make small changes moving forward. With this approach, the backcasting approach, we can actually think about what we ultimately want to be in the future state and get there a lot faster. Now we're going to move into our known buys. What you are known by can differentiate between a good brand and a great one. Mazda wants to be known by its use of specific characteristics and traits: Japanese mastery, artful design, ingenious solutions, human centricity, effortless, joyful driving. Again, I have chills, right? Some real deep information coming from that video. I mean, they dismissed 12,000 Kodo stones. That's a lot of stones in dedication, right? What are some of the things that you guys noticed from this video? How was Japanese mastery present in the video? Did you see any of the known buys? More Mazda owners state they can still catch themselves looking back at their vehicle when they walk away. I love that because when you have such a sense of pride in something, in your vehicle, to be specific, and you clean it and you put the tire gloss on there and you did the windows real nice. You finish, you lock it up, you walk away, and you give it that glance over the left shoulder, right? You give it a quick peek. That's the sense of pride that we want our customers to feel when they are with their vehicles. That's the Japanese mastery that we're talking about. The Japanese have a unique culture of taking immense pride in their work and dedicating their entire life to mastering their craft. The history of Hiroshima has amplified this culture among Mazda's craftsmen. You saw that it takes 20 years to become a takumi or a master craftsman. Mazda believes that our craftsmen impart their own energy and soul into the vehicle, and that this energy is then passed to the owner. Take, for example, the image of the clay modeler. Mazda, at only 2% market share, is a small company, yet we are the largest consumer of automotive clay. This is because our craftsmen believe that sculpting full scale allows them to fully breathe life into the shape. Touching and seeing the light play off the curves in full scale, and it's much more visceral than digital or small scale models. The same Japanese mastery is found in our hand-stitched steering wheels and other parts of the vehicle. The owners will literally feel the care and attention to detail that master craftsmanship are putting into this. Here's a small glimpse into that world. Ingenious solutions. I have two pictures up here to show you two different proof points of what we're calling ingenious solutions. The first proof points we know as the Graham strategy, and that's the picture on top. Our MX-5 original NA, the first model, versus the model we have now, the ND. The ND is only 100 kilograms heavier, and it has a stronger powertrain, better driving performance, modern safety and comforts. Most car manufacturers, as they evolve cars, would put a bigger engine, which would require bigger brakes, and all of that would require a body that's stronger and that's pretty much able to support all of that. As years progress, the cars get heavier and no longer resemble the car of the past. However, Mazda has always been true to their philosophy of Jinbaitai, the joy it brings by staying close to the roots of the MX-5 and providing a lightweight vehicle. We were able to do that by examining each part of our figuring, each part, and figuring out if we can remove a gram from this part, or how about 2 grams, or maybe 3. The Graham strategy is not a complex idea, but it is a harder and more time-consuming project to execute. And then the bottom picture, the second proof point, is our SkyActiv technologies. Picture is a SkyActiv G piston. Story behind this: Mazda is dedicated to advancing the innovating the internal combustion engine. This is because Mazda is taking a holistic and long-term view. Today, the internal combustion engine is not as efficient. About 2/3 of the energy is lost during the combustion process. Some see this as a reason to quickly shift to an alternative powertrain. However, Mazda approaches things differently. Mazda has identified the majority of the world will still rely heavily on gasoline-powered cars for decades to come. So, by improving efficiencies of the internal combustion engine, we are able to make a larger global impact for good. This does not mean that Mazda is neglecting alternative powertrain on vehicles. On the contrary, by focusing on the internal combustion engine, we are creating super efficient technologies that will be amplified when combined with hybrid technology. At the same time, we have partnerships with Toyota, Denso, and Subaru to develop an EV platform. More to come on that. I know that's some exciting news for us all. Artful design. Like good art at a museum, it evokes an emotional response, and our cars are aimed to do the same thing. Our designers are tasked with creating artwork and not just another car. We want owners to feel alive as they look back at their car in satisfaction and pride as they walk away from it. Next, we'll see the journey we took to find our signature color, Soul Red Crystal. I will ask some similar questions as I did in the previous video to see what you actually got away from it. So let's move into it. Some cool takeaways from that. My favorite story, like we call it, is how the actual machine paints the vehicle and how it mimics the actual strokes of a painter or an artisan. I mean, going to that level to truly get, this depth in the color shows how we really want our customers to feel when they interact with our vehicles. Let's move into some human centricity. As you look at this picture, what do you see? What do you notice? What's the first thing that you notice? MX-5 on a scale. This picture illustrates the extreme lengths that Mazda goes to create human-centric vehicles. Other manufacturers focus on building the ultimate driving machine before even thinking about the human aspect. At Mazda, we believe that the vehicle is not perfect until the driver is in it. To create a perfectly balanced vehicle with a driver, we needed to design a vehicle that is slightly imperfectly balanced while always having ideal state on top of mind. The human centricity you see in this picture extends to all aspects of our cars, from cockpit and cabin design to the advanced technologies such as our iActive all-wheel drive. Everything is designed with the driver in the center. I want to talk about this quick video about the driver-car connection. Another Greg Wormsley video who was instrumental in actually leading the charge towards Mazda Premium. You can see how he speaks with just so much passion because of how much he truly believes in what Mazda's doing. All of these known buys really add up to deliver the effortless, joyful driving experience that we talk about. We said at the beginning that Mazda's why is Hashiru Yurakobi, but it's not just about the joy from driving. It's about the way it looks, the craftsmanship, and the culmination of all aspects connected together to fully deliver the ultimate Mazda experience. All right, pushing through this brand value management. Last section, guys and girls. As we move toward Mazda Premium, we are focused on BVM, or brand value management. Simply put, BVM means building the customer's perceived value and desire for the brand. How do we do that? As Masahiro Moro, our CEP, our chief executive, he said in one of our latest town halls, building the value of our brand from every touch point is the basis of the future success of our company. Well put, Maro-san. We call this the ultimate Mazda experience, and it can be broken down into two groups, hardware and software. Hardware is the physical products, our vehicles, our dealership facilities. You've already seen our dramatic evolution of our vehicles from 5th to 7th generation. This evolution will continue as we roll out 7th generation to the rest of the lineup. Another dramatic jump will be seen as we move from 7th to 8th gen. These beautiful cars needed to be displayed in equally beautiful facilities that are aligned with the brand direction. That is why we are working with our dealer partners on building the next generation of dealership facilities we call Retail Evolution, or RE stores. We currently have around 70 in the US, and we are on track to have 350 by the end of 2021. In about 2 years' time, 85% of our customer interactions will take place in an RE facility. As you can see, we are making great strides in elevating our hardware, the products, the premium. But that is only half the equation. The other half is the software. Software is the human-to-human interactions, like customer service and brand engagement. If software does not match hardware, the value of the hardware is diminished. Are you delivering an experiences, the product that matches what your customer is really wanting? Think about that. Everything that you do truly matters. By elevating both hardware and software, we are able to deliver the UMX, or the ultimate Mazda experience. We can also build brand value and achieve Mazda premium. At this point, I know I've given you a lot of information in a very fast manner. The idea here is to really introduce you to the Mazda brand, show you why I'm so proud in the brand and what we're doing to really make ourselves unique. I know that there's a lot of questions that you may have, but I wanted to reiterate that there are a lot of resources that are currently available. Whether you'd like to know more about the brand or the products, we have our Mazda Smart Cards app that I would love for each of you to download and start to play around and get familiar with. And you also have your field team, your district sales and your district service managers to help facilitate any other information that you may need. I will leave my information with your district team. So if you'd like to get a hold of me to have further conversation about any of the information we talked about today, I would be glad to. Before we leave, I have one more slide to share with you. One of my favorite slides here. At Mazda, we believe in the idea of one Mazda. You are now part of one Mazda. We put up this picture of our RT24 in the pit because it is a good representation of one Mazda. When our race car pulls into the pit lane, everyone has the same goal: get the car back on the racetrack as fast as possible. It's not about the tire change or the fueling or the driver change, etc. It's about how all those things come together to achieve their goal. Everyone is playing on the same team, working towards a singular purpose. Welcome to the Mazda family.